Oh, hello.
Oh, hello.
Welcome, everyone, to another lovely episode of Unscripted Gaming presents Love is Unscripted. My name is Mike, joined by
I'm
my hosts, Josh and Ray.
Hello. Hi.
What is good? I am here drinking a lovely, non-edit ruining beverage right now, and
That's
I'm
right. It's for the edit.
for the edit, making sure that continuity is king in this
Right.
wonderfully serious program.
Look, Ray is going to need to go back through this podcast and deceptively edit us to make us seem like villains, as producers are wont to do.
Yeah,
So
because
gosh darn it,
nobody,
we gotta make this right.
yeah, because nobody
Right.
in this show is just a bad person
No,
or a bad
no.
partner. It is all the edit, all the edit, all of the edit.
I mean, if you want to go there.
Anyway, as
No,
Mike
you
said,
know,
we are watching Love Is Blind season 6. This is episode 7 and 8.
boy, we get some real dingers here.
We
folks.
do. We finish out our paradise honeymoons and we return home in these 2 episodes, and there's a lot happens and evolves quickly over these 2 episodes.
We can't get there yet, but dog, we gotta talk about Charlotte. You guys are, it's bad, man. It's
Oh,
not
Charlotte.
good down
Okay.
there.
I thought you were
What
talking
is
about
going
Steve.
on?
Okay.
Yeah, again,
This
if Jimmy is the height of Riz, that is just the biggest glaring indictment on
You know-
Charlotte that I could possibly
No,
ever.
No
Love
one
is blind,
you're
but
the
so is
only
hate,
one
you
calling him
know?
the height of Riz.
No.
You're a hate boner for him.
Yeah, because he doesn't got it. I don't understand.
Let me
Okay.
say, I'm
That
the
again,
biggest hater.
that is just
Jimmy,
how.
I hate the way you walk. I hate the way you talk.
Actually, you should.
I hate the way you
episode
stress.
7, the very first note I have here, like if I was to share my screen with you guys, you could see it, so I'm not BSing you. My very first note is I don't like Chelsea, or Chelsea. I forget how they pronounce her name.
Chelsea.
Like-
Chelsea.
Like, I have some Jimmy notes, sure, but my very first top note is I don't like Chelsea. And I'm
You know-
vindicated in episode 8. We'll get there later.
Yeah, this is when, because like we start off this episode 7 here with like a kind of the morning after of Jimmy and Chelsea's like real big kind of blow up from
Yeah.
the end of the last episode. He again walks into the famous relationship trap of "Are you mad at me?" Which is a question that if you're asking, things are already going sideways.
You're already having a
Uh,
very bad time.
Right, things are just not good. I think I don't know if it's specifically in this conversation or one maybe in no, I think it's in the next episode, but we're really just we really just get another taste of just how like Chelsea and Jimmy just cannot they just are completely talking past each other constantly.
Every
and then
time.
after a while they're like, okay, but we're happy now. It's like
Yeah.
you resolved nothing. Wait a minute.
Neither of you said anything that made the other person feel good. You just said what they kind of sort of wanted to hear. Chelsea says, I never want to feel sad. And I'm like, baby girl, that is not a realistic expectation. Like, sometimes you're going to feel sad. Like, just, I don't know, like, get over it.
I think my top note of I don't like Chelsea really stems from, like, once again, I don't know this human being. I'm knowing what the producers let me see of her. So
Mhm.
maybe she's perfectly fine person. Like, sit down, have
Healthy
some
perspective
nachos,
to have.
get some apps at Applebee's with her, and she's just a great person to be around. I don't know. But yes, from the way the show is framing, it's like, hey, you've got some real questions going on about what you expect in any relationship in your life. Have you talked with your friends about that? Have all your friends just said it's always the other person's fault? Is it never your fault?
Don't
maybe?
worry. We'll
Chelsea
get,
needs to talk to somebody, but it's
Yeah.
not a friend.
yeah, because
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
we'll meet the
It's
friends
like, she's
later, and I
definitely-
don't think that any of them are going to be the ones to be like, yeah, Chelsea, you're the problem here. high.
Yeah, that's a little bit later in this episode, but I got the sense of okay, this is kind of an aside. Me and the missus talk about this all the time. Hey, roommates kind of suck, or at least in my life and in her life, we're like, hey, we've had some pretty awful roommates in our life. But it is kind of a rite of passage to like have that other human bonding experience of like, hey, this person is like completely different from me. At least I get to see what this person's like, and maybe we can find some middle ground because we have to live with each other. What's it like to have a house full of people that think exactly like you and are just like constantly in your corner, even when you're effing up constantly? I think that's kind of a. Is that toxic positivity? I think that's called toxic positivity. I think I have a note about that in here somewhere.
Yeah, definitely can. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, like Mike said, I feel like this conversation doesn't really go anywhere, but they're like, oh, I love you, it's all good, blah blah blah. I'm sorry.
It's like we didn't solve anything. They
Yep.
just ran out of like they both just ran out of like their special meter. Like they used all of their special moves that they have and just have to recharge before they can
Yep.
like fight again. Which is like great, healthy, big thumbs up, super healthy. I just like it's like it's so hard because like Chelsea is needs so much, but at the same time, Jimmy just has to do like the tiniest little thing, and then Chelsea's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's it. That's all I. That's great.
Yeah.
Now he gets." It. It's like, no, 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 no. He didn't. No, he doesn't.
Yeah, Chelsea needs a
You
lot of
know,
constant reaffirmations, but also Jimmy just kind of has to do like sort of close to the bare minimum.
right?
And
It's like
he seems
it's like she
he's-
doesn't.
This is why I'm also kind of confused because I know Josh has seen this season already. Like, maybe you see something I don't much later, but I actually do not understand the Jimmy hate. Like, of all the characters, and I'm using that word purposely, of all the characters on this show, he seems normal. Just seems like a guy.
Yeah,
Like
I
if I picture a human being named Jimmy, this is who I kind of see. You could take that derogatory if you want,
Yeah,
but no, I
the
really just mean
the
that,
problem
like,
is
right.
he keeps getting held up as like God's gift to Charlotte, like fucking Rizmaster, and he's
Dog,
just some
okay,
milquetoast
look.
dude.
saying this.
we're gonna get to I'm gonna unload on Charlotte. We're gonna get there.
What do you
Okay,
have against the
Um,
city
we're gonna
of
get there.
Charlotte?
Anyway, we
Goodness.
got to
Oh,
move
we got
on.
a list. Don't worry.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
We gotta move on. Okay.
Then we get a little bit of time with Brittany and Kenneth here next, and Kenneth kind of brings up the race conversation that AD hopefully brought up with good intentions, which Brittany got a little feisty there about like, hey, I understand what AD's saying, but like, hopefully your friends are coming at this with good intentions and not just trying to like. She not so like subtly is like, I think AD's trying to stir some shit up because we've already been good on this front. So like, but just in case she is coming at this from a good intention perspective, here's how I think about these things.
Okay,
I thought
so
this was like decent.
Yeah.
I have two notes. Did AD have ill intent? Like I'm repeating Brittany's question, and my answer was yes. Next question.
All right,
and
there you go.
my second note is Ken saying, "Hey, I got to talk with all my friends and family that I'm dating. In this case, a Caucasian woman. As someone also in a biracial relationship, biracial? No, mixed race relationship, I guess. I put Ken. You got some fucked up friends. Sorry, dog.
Yeah.
That's not really a talking point.
I do love that she's like, are you worried about your friends like judging you? And he's like, I don't really have an answer for that, which means yes. Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Right.
100%. And then, they kind of resolve the issue. And I just wrote this down because it's going to come up later. Actions align with words.
Okay.
An important phrase that Kenneth and Brittany utter to each other. That comes up later. We call that a tease.
Oh man, sometimes like the edit that you get in the show is just, I mean, because the editors know like what storyline
happens.
they have to build, and so all of it is once you can see the code, you know how everything is going to break here. Like I know I'm jumping ahead a little bit in like the timeline of the episode, but by the end of this episode, after Kenneth and Brittany have a particularly brutal little boat tour, I gave this relationship like a credit downgrade, like that thing that keeps happening to the United States all the time. From like I'm downgrading these down from like AAA to like single A.
Yep.
Because they put this in here for a reason, and
Yep.
I was right.
I just came from a local baseball game, so somebody needs to send them down on to a single A club for a rehab assignment, because
That's
I have a counter note for this. Maybe it's because of what happens later. It's like, why did the camera zoom in on two people having a quiet moment? This show is rancid. Like, you've never just sat down quietly, especially on like vacation with your like significant other, and been like, "This is nice." And
yeah, like
Um,
I think that
I've noticed-
parallel enjoyment is like a thing. I don't think that's exactly what's
that's not what's happening though,
Right.
because she's literally trying to like engage him in
Oh my
conversation.
God, that's so
I know
bad.
we're jumping
We
ahead,
can't-
but like we have to
don't-
talk about this, because Ray, I do think you're wrong here. Of like,
No, I get what's happening right now because of much later. But I said at the time, because I take my notes in real time,
Yeah.
like a stream of consciousness. Like, this show is rancid. Just let the people like chill, for God's sakes.
but
it
also
is-
you're on your
He likes dolphins.
you're on your honeymoon.
Yeah.
You've like had these intense relations. Like, you've not really been together long enough to like be like, hey, I'm just gonna be quiet while we're in paradise right now while you're trying to talk to me, and I'm basically just gonna ignore everything you're saying. But then I'm gonna see some dolphins, I'm gonna light up and finally speak words, but nothing about anything you were talking about in that moment. And I'm not gonna validate anything you say about like physical touch and affection and whatnot, other than like kind of getting a little closer to you and then blowing you
You're
off,
kind of
essentially.
that around, but I see what you're going with, because one of those things happened like several moments before the other.
I'm just saying, like, it's at least an orange flag that you're newly engaged and your fiance is trying to talk to you and you're just kind of like glowering and
Yeah,
being silent.
Okay, so two things, and this is not a defense of Kenneth. This is like an analysis of like humans. One, they're kind of young. Like, I think the joke. the joke.
Oh,
that
right. Is
we-
he young?
Yeah, he's 25. What's your point?
It's almost like he's too young to do certain things, but
Oh
that's
my
beside the
gosh.
point.
You're gonna have to let that go. Tell you
Whack
what,
'em.
Jimmy got Riz. He's a principal. Go to sleep mad about it. Okay, moving on.
I mean, anybody can
Drink
be
your
anything.
beer,
It doesn't
'cause
mean
he's
they're
still
good at
teaching
it, right?
kids, Josh.
No.
What you gonna do?
He can be a principal, but he can also be a bad.
Bad,
principal.
yeah.
Yeah, he, could probably, he might
that-
be a bad principal. Still a
I
principal.
am gonna
right?
be Homer tonight, just fucking angry.
Just in your bed, angry eyes as you're snuggling in.
God
Um,
damn it!
What I was trying to say was that, hey, okay, first things first. This is the type of guy. He was open about this in the pods, as it were. That, hey, I'm trying to wait till marriage until I have sex. You know, people do that. And Brittany said kind of like, oh, so am I. And now that Brittany is saying, hey, by the way, my love language is touch. And that made me tilt my head, saying like, are you actually wanting to wait till marriage for sex? Because that if your language is being very touch sensitive and Kenneth's love language is not touch sensitive, he actually says the words, wow, I cannot believe that you like touching so much. That seems weird. That seems, I think his exact words were, that seems wild to me. It's like, yeah. So they're not aligned in, I don't think they're aligned in what they want. That part I felt was kind of real in the show.
Early
That-
hints, for sure.
What's that?
Early hints of.
Sure. Yeah.
I think I can see the needle threading, but I do see where you're coming from here.
Yeah, I don't think.
But let's.
She's young too. She's 24.
Yeah.
So they're just. I'm not saying they're kids.
People on the show.
A
They are
perfect
usually
age
younger.
for a marriage blessed by God.
What?
I said it's a perfect age for a marriage blessed by God.
Look,
Oh,
well,
okay.
you gotta get that in before the Bluetooth device fully connects, and by that I mean your frontal,
Yep.
lobe. So, yeah. Um, ahem. Uh,
I had a happy
but
note.
sometimes it's fine. Don't worry about it. I had to do some math there real quick. I love you, sweetie. Hey, let's talk about. Can we
I-
hop on?
I was
Hop
gonna say
into
my
AB
happy
and
note was
Clay
just like,
real
hey,
quick.
Johnny and Amy are riding horses.
Bro.
Cute.
Amy, Johnny, save us! Oh my
Seriously,
god!
one of
Please.
the main
No,
the,
episode 8 coming for you, Mike. It's gonna
No,
punch
please,
you in the
gotta
face,
save
and I
us.
can't wait to talk with you
the
about it.
note
No, we'll talk. We'll get there. Don't
the
worry.
note that I
That's-
put in
that's
here
manufactured.
was like, I want to fight, and I was like, see, that's first off, every other couple already fighting. But they're like joking about how they want to fight and they want to experience conflict and like feel each other's outsides. I'm
just
like, that's really like,
just
that's some wholesome
stunting
shit
upon
right there.
The hose.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
it is just completely bodying anybody else in like this
especially
successful relationship.
Because before
Olympics
this,
here.
we get a little bit of time with Jeremy and Laura about Jeremy being a dick and Laura kind of showing her ass too, and them, trying to come to terms with that. And then we come to Amy and Johnny just like having a rip-roaring good time and being adorable with each other.
Like, speaking of credit downgrades, like the Laura Jeremy situation, this is like gonna crash the housing market level like downgrade here. Like, this is, I mean, just like
We're buying all the puts on this one.
oh, absolutely go full, like, you gotta slam the puts and you gotta hold on to those MFs until it happens, because there's just
Now I'm flat-footed here because you guys have actually watched this season. I have no idea what you guys are talking about. Like, I've watched the same episodes I assume you guys watch, and it's like, I'm not seeing anything weird. Just seeing two people trying to feel each other out of like what things they like, what things they don't like, and they kind of had a conversation in an apology session. And then eventually later on, Jeremy apologized, like, listen, 80, I shouldn't have talked about sexually assaulting you as a high school game. I think that was weird, which, by the way, that is weird.
Bro,
super
Jeremy
weird.
was so mad that he got called out that he did not talk to his fiance, went to bed mad in another room. Like, he was that upset about getting called out.
Right.
Like, that's not a reasonable behavior for a human being.
No. So
like, dog, chill
I
out.
get what you're saying. If I may for a second, it's weird to me you're judging reasonable behaviors when people are on this effing show. Nothing about this is reasonable.
Yeah,
So of
but
course,
that wasn't a
of course
reasonable
the
behavior.
Weirdo on this show has an unreasonable reaction when it's like, hey, he was about to just grab your titty and flip it out in front of God and country to see. Wouldn't that have been funny? And then Laura told me to do it, and Laura said, no, I didn't. And then blah, 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 blah.
No,
Yeah,
but,
cool.
like, Laura made that. Laura, like, have you never made an off-color joke to your partner that, like, you're
You
like,
then don't go and tell
understanding that,
everybody
like,
else
hey,
about?
this is right. Like,
I don't think I've ever been drunk enough to make like a weird color. This is an old business tactic I got long ago. Don't say something out loud you're afraid of being repeated. So I try to live life that way.
right. But like, there's an understanding. There should be an understanding of like things that there are things that you say to your partner, spouse, or like fiance that do not get repeated.
Mike, how many
And
times
just
have
like,
you wanted to bean dip me? Just tell me now.
5.
Five.
Every time I've been in your presence.
Yep. Understandable, honestly.
Just get up in them pecs, just go bean dip.
Bop, 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 bop.
I get the
but
munchies sometimes. I don't know what
like
to tell you.
get my, because my notes are contemporaneous too. But I think it's just like it's kind of two. I think this episode and then the next one really colored it for me, where I think it's just like the reaction to this is just like so. It's just like very like, it's just very like grumpy, and just kind of like it's like, okay, like, can we grow up a little bit here, bud, and like be a grown up in a way that like Laura, Laura is a little bit to blame here, but also I'm a Laura stan, so I'm not gonna admit that she did anything wrong because she's great. So,
Goodness.
that's just that's the biased reporting that you come to this podcast for.
I
Sorry.
appreciate the bias.
Right. Thank you. So I don't know. At this point, I think that is just my little seed of like, I don't know. Plus, like the way, again, this is kind of like the edit being like like the edit is the spice, and if you understand the edit, you can see the future, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the way Sarah is orbiting this into all of these discussions that Laura and Jeremy ever have tells you all you need to know. It's like her name keeps popping up because the show wants you to remember her name for very important reasons. And that to me, I'm like, I don't think that's not an accident that is happening there. And this is something maybe like, as someone who, like Ray, not to speak for you, but like as someone who does not watch a lot of reality television, maybe this is something that like, because this is definitely like I don't want to say like a tactic, but like a trope kind of employed by the genre, like of how they like, seed ideas and like storylines and stuff like that.
I gotcha.
So I think that's kind of my clue. It's like, well, if Sarah's not going to be if Sarah is like completely gone, why is she still in the conversation? And that makes me think she's not.
Okay,
and if she's not and if she's around, that's a problem for this.
It's telling
situation.
a forced story type of thing.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I gotcha. I feel you.
So that's kind of what I'm thinking here.
Yeah.
But also because people who use a C-PAP should not be trusted, and they are inherently sinful.
Yeah, I mean, I 1000% agree with that. So.
Right.
I like how
you
just
understand.
one episode before you say
We all are at the end of the day.
we
though.
support our CPAP kings. Now you're like, listen, CPAP people
Can't trust them. Cannot trust them.
You can only trust them as far as their CPAP hose goes.
If you can't, tell you what, if you can't breathe correctly while you sleep, I can't trust you. That's
100%.
that's the God's honest truth.
Imagine trusting Darth Vader, okay?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what you're doing when you trust someone with CPAP. This joke was funnier in my head, but I love you, Josh.
I mean, it's pretty
You're my
good.
best.
It's
You're a
pretty
good friend. I
Thank
love
you. Thank you. You were right the first
love
time.
you, buddy. I was right.
All right.
You're right.
Okay, real quick. So I know we already kind of touched. So we after this conversation, we get to Kenneth and Brittany on the boat. We already kind of talked about that, but I wrote something down here.
Okay.
Because you're like, oh, they're not aligned. Kenneth says the phrase, "I'm always gonna be touching you." He literally says that to her, and I said, "My brother in Christ, then do it." That's the thing. She's literally telling you, my love language is physical touch. I don't feel like you're touching me. And he's like, "Oh, I didn't realize that. I'm always gonna be touching you."
Touch you with my words.
Yeah, like, buddy, then just do it. Just do it.
Like, I've actually reached a point where the fact that they're having everyone is having like extreme amounts of relationship issues. It's just me, like, while I'm watching it, just going, yeah, that's exactly what would happen. Why are we surprised? Like, this entire
To that
premise.
end, can we talk about AD and Clay?
Yeah.
Can we? I have so many notes about them.
So we get a little red light kiss when they're driving, which Eisenberg
Adorable.
Buster. I love his little glasses though. I love Clay's fashion, honestly. I love his
Clay's
dress.
style is so good. I know
It's good.
Later on in episode 8 we get to see his closet, and I know, Mike, you were probably just like dying.
It's good. I'm sorry, man.
Clay got drip.
He's got some drip. But I do think so. Clay and AD have this like lunch, right? They talk about living in Charlotte, meeting family. He's a soup fiend.
He was going after that soup, and AD hated every single way that he ate that soup.
AD is like making faces and is going haywire. Like she's like power surging as like he like busses the table.
Fucking
but
that.
then Clay throws out something really weird here. Sorry, Josh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say like on the second watch through, like it didn't get any less alarming the way that AD reacted to Clay bussing the table and like organizing the dishes for easy cleanup. I'm like, that was a nice thing of Clay to do. Why are we like
I don't know.
giving him
honestly
these eyes?
Nice.
This is the note where I took where it was like, the music is so disgustingly manipulative
Like,
here
look at this.
because it's making.
sicko.
You
Ugh.
could have played the entering of the Gladiator theme. That and I know the producers wanted to do that because you want to think he's a clown, but it's like, no, let my man eat his food. Let him, if he wants to bust the table for the weights. That's how you know someone's actually a decent person, if they treat weights.
I'm saying AD's in the wrong over here. AD's giving him fucking shade for being like a decent human being, and I'm like, AD,
you know what? Go
baby,
swim home, AD.
yeah,
Stop.
Now, so I think AD is a little harsh for being like, why are you cleaning? I don't know. I do that, but
Yeah.
it is weird. I do think we get a. This is kind of like one of those little nuggets of plot lines that I think is being seeded here, where Clay is generally like kind of scared, and he talks. I think he talks a little bit about like his family relationships and his like
and his
fears
dad.
about this relationship. And he talks. Does he talk about like how his dad like cheated?
Yeah,
Is that this one?
I have a couple notes here about Clay. This is towards the end of the episode, actually.
Right.
It was like the last 8 minutes of the episode, but we can talk about it right here. Clay says, and I hated this response, and this made me like want to roll my eyes so hard I could see the front of my brain. I've never seen a black relationship where the man has been faithful. I'm like,
Oh, brother.
maybe everyone you hang around with sucks, Clay. Have you considered that?
The way like Clay talks about like relationship problems or cheating is like,
he says it so matter of fact.
it's like he's gonna like, it's like quicksand or like a box with like a little string on it, right? It's like, oh, it's gonna get you. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't really work like that. Like,
He's like saying, listen, AD, it is part of my character. I am the scorpion on top of the frog's back. I am going to cheat on you, and I don't want to do it, but I can't help myself as a black man. It's built into my character. And I'm just over here dying. This is where I typed in chat, I need to go drink. I can't be sober for this show anymore.
it's just like, it's just like, he's so like it's so like paralyzing to him, and then like the AD kind of like they kind of talk about it a little bit.
AD doesn't say anything. She just keeps saying yeah, it's a very one-sided.
I think I have a lyric here from some of the music played. Love hits harder in love, which like, damn, it really does when you think about it. But yeah, this is another one of those like big like kind of nuggets where I'm like, this is like a weird, but it's like, yeah, he talks about like relationship failure like it's getting a flat tire or something. It's like, wait a minute, hold on, I don't know if it works like that.
Minor inconvenience, you call the AAA, you're back on the road in half an hour.
Right, or just like something like getting called for like jury duty, like,
Yeah.
it just happens and there's nothing you can do. It's like, okay, wait a minute, what if you can.
I will spare this character some credit because he does say near the end, listen, I want to go to therapy by myself and with you so I can get some of the demons off my back. I'm like, holy shit, character growth. What the fuck is this?
Right, like, we're aware of this, which is a good sign.
That was actually
sign.
like really, really, really good. Like shockingly good. I was actually like taken aback, like bereft.
Ray, welcome to the Clay Station experience.
No,
You're getting played by the player, baby.
Until he gets that help, he's still a hot mess. And he actually
he is all aboard the Clay train.
Clay Station Plus. Get the annual subscription.
Subscribing.
No. I am still very much in the, hey, this guy is fuckboy extraordinaire. Unless he's actually serious and gets like the help to not be someone that sees relationships as
Man.
like the world's most minor inconvenience.
This is a joke for literally one person listening to this, but they got to bring back PlayStation TV. That was really cool. It was so much better than YouTube TV.
Okay.
Anyways, let's talk about the party. I think we have a party we get to.
No,
Yes.
no, well,
yes, we are on to
okay,
we are on to the
party's up
party.
earlier. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we have a little group hang here with everybody in the middle of the day, and things are going a lot better than the evening group hang. We get the women getting together, talking about some tussling that was happening in some of the relationships. So things are progressing in some of our couples right now. One note I had from this is when Jeremy went to apologize to AD and talking about how it brought them closer together. They talked about AD as the ass that brought a couple closer together, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, you know what? Sometimes an ass do be doing that.
Goodness gracious.
Let's see. What do I have here? I have Laura and Johnny chat. I think birth control, because that's like one of the things like Amy and Johnny have talked about.
Yeah.
We're also obsessed, Laura. I agree.
Yeah, Laura straight up
Johnny, please save us.
Yeah, Laura straight up calls out
God.
their chemistry, and Amy's basically like, it's there, but we haven't done anything yet because of the birth control situation.
And she like doesn't believe him. She's like, okay. It's
really, baby?
Funny.
Really?
I have
love you,
this
Laura.
note where in episode, I think it was 4 or something, where Amy and Johnny said, "Oh yeah, our physical chemistry is great. It's an 11 out of 10." And my note is, so were they just capping? Because if you haven't like had sex, what do you mean it's an 11 out of 10? Was the hugging that great? The kissing that?
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of there are things you can do without P2V insertion, but also like
Tell me more.
Well, when a man and a woman love each other very much, but the man is deathly afraid of getting the woman pregnant, there are other situations you can do to relieve that stress and that tension.
Yeah. Alternative configurations.
Yes.
But a Jedi won't tell you about it. Maybe a Sith will. Literally come to the dark side. All right, that's my requisite joke today. You can't lay it up for me and not helicopter that shit into the basket. You can't do that.
Darth Sutra.
Goodness. Anyways,
Darth Crumbo.
Also, I found it like really weird that they're like at the party. They're like, so how much sex you having? It's like, what the fuck do you care? Get out of here. That's such a weird question to just pop off and ask.
Counterpoint.
Yeah, crazy.
Counterpoint. Everybody's hot, and you kind of like, okay. I think in this moment too, like you almost want that validation of like, I know it's kind of insane that like I really just met this person, but also I have been like so intensely engaged with them that like I feel like I know them deeper than some people that I had, year-long relationships with or whatever. So like I want to make sure that other people are having sex, so I know that I'm not crazy for having sex in this moment, kind of thing.
This is why I couldn't. Oh
wait, hold on.
That's such an invasion of privacy.
I'm getting a clairvoyant mic is getting a transmission here.
Oh.
Because Jeremy says he wants to meet Sarah. And I'm like, here we go.
Yeah, we could absolutely be friends,
Right. And Amy, when he says that, is like, oh my God. It's like, she knows. We all know. Just again, this is one of those things I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a problem, and it's I don't think it's gonna pan out.
I have a note about Amy. It was like after the party, and like I guess it was a cut back to the horse riding thing. It's Amy talking with Johnny, saying, "Hey, yeah, my dad doesn't agree with like this entire process." My one note on that is like, "Well, yeah, no shit." Imagine. Yeah, bye. I'm gonna go meet this guy that I just like never saw the face of. I barely know. It's like, yeah, what parent would actually say like, I want to get this out of there. Don't live your life in hopes of pleasing your parents, but also like Don't also ask
Right.
for parents' adoration or approval when you do something half-cocked and extremely stupid.
Yeah, just disappoint your parents like the rest of us. Come on, Amy.
Yeah, God,
What are you doing?
just get over it. Get over
Come
yourself.
on.
You think you're special?
But did that
Dad,
for
do you
years.
approve me going on this show with most of America watching me make an ass of myself? Yeah, you know what, honey?
Counterpoint.
I've
Amy
dreamed
is
of
a
the
perfect
day.
angel in at least through 8 episodes. So you know what? Go off, Queen.
I like how
Honestly,
Josh
yeah,
puts
nailed it.
that qualifier of like, listen, we had a good run, but this next episode, man, I don't know what's
Hey,
about to happen.
I
We had okay, so we're about to get to episode 8 here,
I-
but two notes. One lyric here is losing game, which is very funny.
I will say
And plus we get the bombshell reveal that Kenneth do be on phone.
Kenneth.
That is on
Kenneth-
this episode, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Go
Kenneth
back to
is
Charlotte.
locked
Kenneth be on
in.
phone.
I have one before we go home. I have one positive note that I took about Jimmy, or is that Chelsea tries to trap him and being like, "Oh, what was your least favorite moment of the trip?" Trying to get him to be like, "Oh, our fight," and he doesn't fall for it. And he's like, "No, our fight was actually pretty good because it brought us closer together." I'm like, dude,
you were watching a
fucking
master at work.
Matrix does it. That was the first time I was like,
Listen,
okay.
Josh, I know you're saying Jimmy doesn't have Riz, but once again, Jimmy is just a guy. I thought the story he told, like, hey, the worst thing that happened during the entire event is I ate like 5 of those giant taquitos, and I ate them so fast I accidentally bit my lip really hard. I'm like, that's the most human story. That's
I think
so
Jimmy
adorable.
has I think you this might just happen to you if you live in Charlotte, but like I think Jimmy has like CTE brain, like a tiny bit. Like just a little bit. You know, I
I
don't
thought
know
that
if he
was
was like a
fine.
high school or like middle school athlete or something, but just like
Yeah.
just like
just half, just
tiny
like half
little
of
bit.
one. Just like half.
I'm
a season.
actually getting the vibes that this is just a guy that actually. I'm getting the vibes, I'll say. I don't know if this is true. That this is just a guy that actually is in it to actually try to find someone and is doing his damnedest. And he realizes that he's realizing the hard way that people that go on this show are just extremely filled with trauma and drama. And he doesn't know how to deal with that. So he's just trying to make it. That's the
I
vibe
think-
I'm getting.
Yeah, and I think the vibe. I think again, my theory is that he's been like backpedaling from the decision he maybe should have made, like way back in episode 3.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have
And
nothing
we'll get
polite
there.
to say about Jessica.
Oh, I
She-
do. I have many polite things to say about her. She's great. We love her.
I go back to the whole thing of Jimmy, read the letter, and the letter says whoever reads this letter is
The
now
letter is strong.
out.
Okay, we concede the defense concedes that the letter is a bit much, but also Jimmy just say that I don't want to marry somebody who currently has children. You just say that. Just be honest, okay?
Yeah.
That's all I need. Let's go to episode 8, if we're clear with episode.
Yeah,
7,
we're
folks.
we're done there.
All right.
I actually don't have a
So
lot of notes for episode.
we're
8.
back in Charlotte. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And not only are we in Charlotte, well, first of all, like we started this episode like seeing each other's houses, but then we get the drop that like so the next phase now that we're out of the honeymoon is to like live together for like 4 weeks, I think,
Something like
until
that,
the weddings happen. And
Yeah,
they
and they
live
kinda
in
have it-
fucking millennial gulag row housing.
Yeah.
It
So
is
they have
insane.
they basically have these like
Awful.
little townhouses that they all go to, but then they are like during this process then deciding whose house that they are going to like live in. So it's they're not there like the whole time. You know, it's kind of an
It's
interesting.
like millennial Stalingrad is what
Yeah.
these apartments look like. It
Those
is
were beautiful
insane.
houses.
I
Am I
just
the
think-
only-
I
those
just think
were
they're
great
ugly. I'm
townhomes.
sorry.
The
Just,
my
like, it's-
main thing, like I don't mind the row houses. My biggest thing in this
Mike, you
fucking
sound
modern
like
world,
you hate the proletariat right now. I'm not gonna lie to you, man.
these
Look, the proletariat gotta have some
goddamn
taste, okay?
open air cabinets are
standards.
the fucking worst.
Open
They
air
are
what?
these all of these open air cabinets that are cropping up that are getting popular in like new builds. It's the actual worst. I hate it so much.
You guys sound like the bougiest people. They live downtown. What do you want from them?
Nice house and not an
I've
ugly
lived
one.
downtown and had regular ass cabinets. They were superior.
Oh my gosh, are we talking about Love Is Blind? Or are you guys being bitches about like
Love is
interior
blind,
design?
but home design is not okay. Take a different flooring. Come on.
Goodness.
Love is
all-
blind, but home design is not. There's an episode title for you. God.
I thought, actually, I didn't have many notes for their homes because I'm like, wait. I actually was really uncomfortable with like, now we're gonna put cameras in all their homes. Like, why? That sounds so impersonal. Like, just whoa.
I thought the little house tour was cute. I liked it.
Yeah.
I thought it was like what you guys are doing, like Joe's six packs over here. It's like, okay, now you've just invited everyone to just judge your home. That's so effing weird. What if that's what you could afford at the time? Like, Jesus, that's so off. That was
Now,
super off-putting.
the
to me.
beginning of this is a little bit like, bitch, you live like this? Which the answer is yes, they do. Which is
Yeah,
very
like
funny.
God.
Especially okay, now Ray, these are hurtful accusations, but they are correct. Because my first note for this episode is Chelsea's house is tiny, which is rude.
I mean, but to be fair, she's also a flight attendant, so she travels a
Right.
lot, and you know she got a
Right,
roommate.
exactly.
Like you don't really need a ton of space.
Mhm.
Right. So that's understandable. Clay, I think it's a little Mojo Dojo Casa
100%.
to borrow
That is-
2023.
He's got some
Summer.
style, but it is a bachelor pad.
Yeah, I like again the clothes so good. I want his closet.
This is why I don't have many notes.
does
on
have
this.
the
I'm like,
fighting
I'm
game
not, I
machine.
am not gonna judge people.
Yeah, the fighting game machine. Love his
Like, this is pretty
his South Carolina jersey, you know, framed up. Some of his old articles from when he was a kid, like, you know, that's adorable.
My only note here is,
Jeremy's
like,
place, fucking like I wrote. Jeremy does actually live in the model home. Like no human being has ever
This is-
actually like furnished their place like this. You know, that's just
It's like very clean and very impressive. The garage gym, very nice. It's like Spartan.
yeah.
which
He's got
is-
like
to me,
he's got like exactly four gold spoons and everything else match. Like you know, it's just yeah. It's
Now-
I don't know.
I don't know if this person is listening to this, but there's someone out there who I care for greatly, whose goal in life is to live one cup, one bowl, one spoon, and that's the goal, and nothing else. Jeremy, I think, is about as close as one could realistically get
Yeah.
to that in a lot of ways, and still technically own property that has air conditioning, I guess. So it's just like. I don't know. It was just like a lot. I was not expecting that, but like, I mean, he said he likes it clean, and he does again. But as previously established,
I just have-
hey, maybe give it up for our C-PAP warriors again. Maybe they're, let's turn this around.
So, for the notes I have for the housing arc, well, my exact notes is housing arc ellipses is weird. Jimmy just has a normal ass studio apartment. Chelsea just has a normal ass home with a roommate. Everyone's just living. Why are we filming inside their homes? I didn't like it. I didn't like the home tours. I don't know if this is a thing that they do every single season.
Yeah, because a part of the whole thing is them having the conversations about are they going to live together? Are they going to sell their places and get something together? Are they going to move in with one, with one or the other? Are they even going to stay in the town for whatever? Like that is a consistent theme throughout the show of them like having those conversations of finding out how this person lives and can we find a way to cohabitate and either bring our lives together or start fresh kind of thing.
My
Now-
counterpoint to that is, okay, everything else about this show is kind of counterfactual and fake. Like the way that they date is kind of fake. The way that they've went on their honeymoon, even though they're not married, I don't know. It's just like a big ass expensive vacation. That's kind of fake because all of that is studio paid for. Why not studio paid like apartments? Just like, hey, you guys have to cohabitate for exactly 1 month. We got a
They
1
do.
month lease here.
That's what
The
this,
place
like-
they come home to, the Millennial Gulag, is paid for by the studio, and they
They
live
said that
there.
was
But they are still deciding on which, like, when they eventually get to the altar, like, where are they going to live after that? They spend the month in those condos.
Mm-hmm.
so. Am I missing something here? When they visited each other's homes and when they're staying at each other's homes, they're not actually staying at each other's homes, or were they visiting each other's homes?
They're basically just
They
visiting. I think, like, like Jimmy works from home, so I think he is going to spend more time at home, like, there, and they're going to film there because they've already kind of decided, like, Chelsea's going to move in. But, like, they are going back to the studio-provided apartments at the end of the day.
Yes. It is kind of weird because there's
Okay,
like
sure.
3 locations, right? Because there's each person's house and then like the condo. So
Okay.
that's a thing.
Maybe that's something I'm not following or whatever, or I missed or something like that. Because it kind of seemed like, okay, now they're back at their homes, they're having to go back to work, as it were. They mentioned that a lot, so that's what I
Right.
thought was going on. So
Um,
why wouldn't they go back to their home? Do you see my confusion
Yeah.
here? It doesn't make sense.
I think that's fair. I think it's just a I don't know the exact reasoning, but I think it's like
Because if you make, I mean, we're also at the point of the show where, like, yes, they've been engaged, but they haven't officially gotten married yet. So, like, sometimes people break up at some point during the show. Spoiler alert. So it would kind of not make sense for somebody to move out of their apartment in the middle of this process and then have to move back in because they got broken up with.
Well, you're not moving out. You are only staying in one place for 1 month. That was my counterpoint. Like, hey, just if you're gonna take like what is it, like 2 weeks or however many weeks they were in the pods, plus like a week in the Dominican Republic, you could pack a 1 month go bag or something like that.
yeah, I think that's what they do, like in the condos, basically.
Yeah.
I guess I was confused because Jimmy was saying like very clearly, like, yes, I have to work from here, and then Kenneth was saying later on, yes, I have to leave this place and go to my work,
Right.
which I don't know where they are.
Jimmy works
necessarily.
from home.
Yeah, Jimmy
Right.
works from home. Kenneth works at wherever, and I don't think the others like really talked about their work. But that was my confusion. That was my. I guess I'm trying to put like some kind of weird infrastructural band-aid on something that normal human beings don't do. So never mind.
Yeah.
I'm giving.
You're
way
also
more thought
getting
to this.
you're getting caught up on some weird shit. So we're moving
Right.
on from that.
The weird shit is the whole housing arc. That
Okay.
whole
Kenneth
thing is
has
weird.
no food in his house. He is the ultimate bachelor.
Okay. I remembered my note here is Kenneth's house is very and I was trying to remember why I said that. Have food in your house, okay?
Yeah.
Have
Because
food.
most of his
What-
food consisted of Twinkies.
Yeah,
It
you
was
gotta.
like 3 boxes of Twinkies. It was most of his
Yeah.
food.
Big. Yeah.
What else was up with Kenneth's house?
There wasn't really much there. Like they really just focused on the lack of stuff in the cabinet. Like they didn't really get too much into it. I didn't have much after like, dude, get some food, and then I moved on to
I think
Chelsea and her
this is-
friends.
Yeah, this is where I say Brittany's beginning the walk back a little bit here. I think with some of the things that she says, and also just doesn't put the fucking phone down, dude.
Oh yeah, that they are having
Oh
having
my
they're
God.
like in middle of a conversation, and Buddy like he just gets his phone out in the middle of their conversation, like mid sentence, stops what
It's
he's saying,
so-
gets it out, sends a couple texts, and then like comes back to it, and it's like, bro,
Yeah, my
And it's
top
like-
note is in all caps. Kenneth is a phone freak.
yeah,
and it's
like,
just it's so funny. Not to like go unload on this point because they have their situation later already, but like it's so funny that this is coming from the guy who is like, I want to check in with you every single night and be like, hey, how was today? What can we do better? What was great? What was not? Have a performance review like every single day. Like it's very funny.
Oh
that this is-
yeah,
that
he did say that, didn't he?
like
But-
that guy, the person who said that is just on phone all
Yeah.
the time.
literally, I did.
Insane.
It was the end of episode 7.
Crazy.
I made this note. I forgot to say it, but like literally, he's like sitting on the bed on his phone while Brittany's unpacking and talking about stuff and like, hey, how should we get set up? Like, let's get settled in. And he's like, hey, I'm gonna go chill somewhere else, and he just basically relocates from the bed to the couch for just change the scenery for phone time. Like literally still on the
Listen.
phone, just moved locations.
Bedroom phone vibe, not vibing. Downstairs phone vibe, away from you, is more vibing. So I'm gonna go to downstairs phone vibe.
It's just like
It's much easier to ignore you when you're not in the room.
right, and just like again, like I don't want to go like out of order, but just like the way it all ends, it's just like the way it ends for him and Brittany is just like
Kenneth is a
it's
fucking
just-
coward.
It's just such a I don't want to say like awful, but it's just like really like it's wild. Anyways.
I have a note about that. Like, hey, this entire episode is just human beings figuring out that this experiment is stupid. That's really all when it comes down to. Like, you guys didn't spend the energy or the time to get to know each other, and now you're finding this out the hard way as you're quote-unquote engaged. Like, yeah, that's what human beings are. You can't get to know each other that way. You can't just say, like, oh, I didn't know you were a phone freak. Yeah, you never got the chance to find out he was a phone freak. Imagine that. The moment you went ahead and he put a ring on the finger,
know.
now you're spending a week in the Dominican Republic where he can't have phone. Now that he has phone, you are now at the bottom of the my Maslow's pyramid hierarchy of needs. No, I'm
Right.
sorry. Pyramid of needs. You're at the very top. At the bottom, at the base, the foundation.
Base is
Phone.
phone. Look, but maybe what if Brittany just has really bad vibes? Okay, have we considered
What if her
that?
vibes were rancid?
What if the vibes are just really bad and she's
Has
just like
anyone-
not
And
a
you know
pleasant
what?
person?
Phone vibes, immaculate.
You know phone. Phone's gonna give you what
Phone
you
has
know,
never
right?
let me down.
Phone's never
I've heard-
phone has never made me
I hear
sad,
he keeps it
right?
plugged in and he has every app on it. And when the new phone comes out, he's not worried about it because he can transfer his old pictures
Right.
from his old
And
phone
he
to his
can
new
keep
phone.
texting all his teachers who want to hear from him so
Bro,
badly.
no teacher has ever wanted to get a text message from their principal outside during work hours, let alone outside of work hours. Like, Kenneth, go away.
Please,
He
God.
had a story later on. This is related to Kenneth and Brittany, where apparently he came home very late from work at
Oh my god,
1
I have so
a.m.
many. I have
This
so
is
many.
psychotic.
It's so toxic. Fuck Kenneth. I didn't really like the first time I watched this. I like was so like taken aback by like him just pulling the fucking eject lever the second he got challenged. Watching it the second time, hearing what he was actually saying, I was like, oh my god, you toxic piece of shit, get the fuck out of here. Like, honestly, Brittany is better off that you pull the ejection cord like so goddamn early, but oh my god, he's the fucking worst.
I mean,
Yeah,
what is it you're
he's-
saying that he's the worst about? Can you elaborate on that? I'm not even disagreeing with you. I'm just curious.
I mean,
yeah.
fast forwarding ahead in this conversation, Brittany is first off saying like, hey, I want to feel this crave and I'm not feeling it from you. And he turns it around to be like, you're not feeling it for me, which is not what she was really saying, and whatever. But then he uses as an example, hey, I came home at 1:30 in the morning while you were dead asleep, and I tried to love on you and give you affection and, you know, get that attention from you, and you pushed me away and said no. What was I to do? When else could I have done it? My brother in fucking the Antichrist, you woke your lady up with the fucking lights on at 1:30 in the morning and it decided that that's the moment that you want to show her you desire her and you crave her. And then you're going to use that as like, well, I tried, but you weren't available. So like, I don't know. I guess sometimes our times don't mess up.
Legitimately,
off.
if I walked into a room and turned on the lights at a really late point in the night and I did not realize that my wife was there and I woke her up doing that, I would legitimately kill myself. I am dead serious. Like, how can he do that?
Yeah.
Like,
And then again, throw that in her face
What
as
the
an
fuck?
example of how he tried to show her affection and physical intimacy and be like, but you weren't into it at that time. So like, what was I to do? Like, oh, I don't know what I could have done. No, man, fuck off with
yeah,
that shit.
he's just
Get out of here.
completely misses any point that she's making.
And again,
like,
he is completely turning around what she's saying to be like, oh, you're not feeling that for me. I deserve somebody who feels that for me. I don't, God prepared me for this shit. He prepared me for the future thing, and I'm not going to try. No, fuck you. You are purposefully misunderstanding.
On his phone while all of this is fucking happening too.
She's literally there sobbing. He gets on his phone, and they're having what I think is a conversation like, hey, I'm not feeling this. I need you to put some effort into him. And then he just fucking pulls the ejection cord and bails out of nowhere. And just you know what? I'm out. And
Brittany's too gracious
coward.
to just be like, Brittany's too gracious to just be like, hey, Dick, put down the fucking phone and look at me for 1 second.
I don't know if you noticed, I got my nails done today. I got my toes done today. I'm looking like a snack, and you are just not interested. You're over here eating your fucking chicken dinner and having a phone and not talking to me.
Chicken though, wasn't he? He was smacking on a succulent chicken.
A succulent chicken meal. What's the charge? Enjoying a meal.
I had bad vibes about Kenneth since Note 1. Because hey, this is not in the front of anyone. But when you say some weird sideways stuff constantly, if the other person isn't reciprocating to maybe, we'll say, how in depth and how of the cloth that you are, I don't think he's Catholic. I think he's just very much Christian or some sort, Protestant Christian, I think. But he throws that really hard, and I
don't put this on us. Come on.
I don't think Brittany has ever at any point from any of the notes I've taken reciprocated that. I think she was just looking for a man and was willing to accept that. And Kenneth is a prude, full stop, bar none. He doesn't see her sexually, and he doesn't want to see her sexually, and he's not interested in her physically. He's just not. Right. At all. And so when you have that sort of when you have these opposing vibes, you have the neutron and electron positron and electron completely opposing each other. Of course they're not gonna mesh. Hey, I like touch. I don't want to touch you. Want to touch.
But see, here's the thing. He literally says, "I am never not going to be touching you."
That's called a lie, Josh.
Yeah, he fucking sucks. He's an asshole. Because he straight up is either not intentional or he's lying. And both of them are he's not a good person.
People in the first beginnings of their relationships, that's what you're feeling out their lies. And they couldn't really do that. They never had a chance. And by the time they did get a chance, they were locked into a room together in the Dominican Republic. And now they're figuring out all the really toxic. Imagine if they went on just a dinner date to an Italian restaurant and he was on phone during the entire date. It's over.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because it's just, the other thing is just it's just the way that Brittany's clear is really is emotionally frustrated and upset during a lot of these conversations. And then is I don't think this is gonna work out, and Kenneth's shoot, darn, okay, and just
he does kind of pack up and leave pretty quick, doesn't he?
He's just all right, I guess I'm gonna head out. And it's just
I like Josh's description
it's
weirdly pathetic. It's
well, and it's I
don't know. It's just
I do feel they were so
more
intense and intentional in. When it's they were very intense and intentional in their conversations.
Mm-hmm.
But then they get into reality and the things that he's it just never manifests in any way. And I understand her frustration and why she gets upset about that.
I think it's very revealing that she kept saying, Brittany kept saying, I want the Kenneth I liked in the pods. That tells you everything you need to know, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's
him.
Yeah, it's a bummer, because again, all of this, just this complete checkout coming from Mr. Daily Check-In is just it just really pissed me off. Just all right.
I love that note. Okay. I want a sit rep from you every night before we go to bed. Then reality hits. Kenneth on day 2. Yeah, I'm gonna stumble home at 1:30 in the morning
And
Hey,
turn
babe,
on the light. I'm dead serious. I would kill
Weak.
myself if I did that. Like the fact that he does not like the fact that he does not see the problem with that, like gulag is the only solution. I am sorry.
I think it's because he's never probably been in a serious relationship. That's why he was so
Yeah.
quick to, as Josh puts it, hit the ejection sheet. See, and every time Josh says that, I just think of like someone in like
And
super top
just
hat.
M16
And they're just like,
literally,
They
that's
go
literally what he
flying.
did.
The canopy shoots up and go flying.
I don't think I've got a lot of space in this thing left, but Kenneth, we gotta put you in the cube, man.
Okay,
It's the only solution. You're going
we
in the
gotta
cube.
put him in the pain cube.
We gotta put
Oh,
him in the pain
no.
cube. It's the only way.
Do
He's
we
got
wanna
to
talk-
learn.
Do we want to talk about Chelsea's roommates? Because I have things to say about Chelsea's roommates, if I may, or roommate and her friends.
Yeah, we should. This is because they kind of like check in on like how things are going. We should visit that. Yeah.
I want to say this line word for word. This is a note I took. I should just share my notes with you guys sometimes. Chelsea. Okay, hold on. Chelsea says Jimmy has never kissed her. My note. That sounds like a fucking lie because I was actually going to go through timestamps of every single time we've seen on camera.
To be fair, she says you haven't kissed. She specifically talked about that day.
Okay. Once again, I say that sounds like a fucking lie. And then
It's
the
a
next
lot
note,
to.
the next note I have is Chelsea to her friends. My friends say I all look like Megan Fox, and her friends, yeah, you look like Megan Fox. And I put, you need to let that go. Listen,
Well, also first they all said Carrie Underwood, and I was like, that's even further off.
y'all need to stop. Y'all, I am all for hyping up your homies, but we need to have a conversation.
Yeah.
I do not look like Idris Elba. All right, and if any of you Fs ever said that, we would have questions.
But Ray,
I would
black.
be-
No, wait a minute. There's no. No one. Don't tell me
Coming
someone's told you that, right?
No,
Don't tell.
Okay.
Okay, thank God.
No,
Okay.
no. I did have a
No offense,
cafe
but oh,
attend-
buddy.
I did have a cafe waiter when I was in France. She said, "Are you related to Samuel L. Jackson?" Which was weird, because you would expect that from like kind of like European person. No, this person was French Algerian. She was as black as I was. I'm like, this is an awkward conversation we are having
Oh,
right now. But the
boy.
answer is no.
I mean, you should. Yeah, I mean, at that point, you just counter. Are
Like-
you like?
I get the actor I get is Daniel Brühl.
I don't know who
Like
that is.
he's the guy from Inglorious Bastards who's the Nazi, which is again great.
Hell yeah.
Love that. Or like Zemo from Marvel stuff. And I'm
could see
like, I
Daniel
do
Brühl,
kind
yeah.
of see it.
Honestly, I was gonna say like, if anything, you look closer to the Bear Jew, but yeah, that would just be my.
No, I don't think
You got that. He's got that pointy chin, and that kind of like the way your chin tapers down. I feel like that's similar to his
Like-
jawline. Maybe I'm
like
making it
Eli
up.
Roth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
No.
I don't know.
I think you had it right the first
I
time.
don't.
I never
going
get.
with
I don't
Daniel
get compared
Brühl.
to celebrities.
I
I'm
see the
just-
chin, but I do. I don't.
Okay,
Think so.
Maybe
the point
I'm-
we're trying to make is not Megan Fox.
Don't compare yourself to celebrities.
Yeah,
Yeah,
stop
that's the
doing
dangerous
that.
thing.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. One, it's heartbreaking when Jimmy just in his mind he wants to yell out loud, "Y'all fucked up for this one. Y'all wrong."
That's the other. Jimmy's predicament is so funny because he's thinking it and knows he can't
But he can't
speak
say
to it or
it.
say it, but it is present in every single thing he
Everyone's
thinks and
But
says
But
and does.
as we
It's
start
so
this fight, though,
awful.
the best like he's
It's
like,
so
I
funny.
literally can't tell you I love you every single hour. I'm like, you know what? Jimmy is saying the quiet part out loud. Like,
No, when he actually, we can skip forward to that. When he actually gets to the part where he's like, "Hey, you've been a little clingy lately," and that almost
The C word. Oh my
Bro.
god, this is so bad.
That
and
almost causes her
this
to
is
throw
how
a
I know
punch.
Jimmy doesn't have the Riz, because I don't care if you feel it, you never say it. You never say that out loud to
You
a
know
person.
what? They've been in a relationship for all of 2.5 weeks. Go off, King. Get it. Tell her. No,
Yeah.
I'm done. I am done
This
with
is
this sort of like gaslighting you guys are doing to me. This
no,
person
no,
is weird.
no, no. This is the point. You're right, Ray. This is the point I was kind of making earlier, where they're like just completely talking past each other.
Mhm.
Chelsea has a mighty emotional need. A mighty need is the only way to describe
Yep.
it.
Mhm.
And Jimmy is not doing the way Jimmy like emotionally like conveys thing is like he says, "I told you I love you 5 times today."
Literally,
And it's just like
literally, my
to-
dude is keeping a mental spreadsheet of like, all right, I got
Right.
1, I
It's
got
like
2, I kissed
Because
you
he
then.
has to.
and it's just like it's two different people just like with two completely different understandings of like what that means, because it's like for him it's like it's like I do care about you, but I already feel like but that's just not it's like this is like very classic, but it's like it's just the love language thing is just completely not aligned,
Mhm.
because Jimmy thinks he's satisfying that need by saying I love you 5 times today. But like the way Chelsea quantifies that is like Jimmy could say it 100 times, and it might not, at a certain point it doesn't. That's not going to. That's not the thing she's counting, if that makes sense. So it's like they're keeping.
It is
They're
not. It's
keeping
not
score
what.
of the wrong things
Yeah,
for
it's
each
not
other.
what he
and
says;
that's
it's
the
how he
problem.
says it. Because also in this
Right.
conversation, we find like things start to come up, and we talk a little bit about with the friends too. But like, we definitely find out that Chelsea is in her head because Jimmy has now seen a picture of Jess and now knows what she looks like.
No, she's kind of a baddie.
Yeah. I mean, I have a note for in about 5 minutes of the show of some stuff, but like, so she's in her head about this, and she's looking for that reaffirmation
Trevor,
of Jimmy.
Trevor name drop too, by the way.
Yeah,
during some
with
of the
his
stuff.
mullet.
Right.
But like, just like she wants the validation from him that he is not regretting his choice, and that any perceived changes in the way that he is interacting with her are not because of him regretting his decision. And like, Jimmy is so oblivious that he's just like, babe, I told you I loved you 5 times today, and I kissed you in the morning, and I kissed you when we were seeing your friends, but my mouth kind of hurts. And like, he does not hear her, that she is looking for that validation of like, I need you to admit, because a little bit ago you were being kind of weird about who I said I look like, that you made the right choice. And like, he just cannot. Like, I don't even think he hears her saying that. He's just like,
Right.
all he
No, I
hears
disagree
is
with
like,
you
you're not
fully.
telling me that you love me enough. And he's like, I told you I love you. And, now I want, I can't tell you every hour. You're being a little clingy. And, man, you wanted to have
Not
sex, and
the-
I need to kind
oh
of chill
my
out. Like,
God.
man, we're having too much sex. Like, Jimmy, you fucking loser. Get out of
No.
here.
Tell you what, pull the ripcord. Jimmy needs to break it off with her. Fine, whatever. I don't care. Like this is also part of the show where I'm like, this is, even if this was like all real, this is just trash. Y'all ain't ready for each other. Hell, I'm not sure if like real talk. I'm not sure if Chelsea like wants a relationship with another person. I think she just wants someone to fawn over her. That's fine. That's
Yeah,
okay.
it's
There's
this is
BDSM
definitely
relationships, clearly.
like this is one of the one I don't know how they keep bouncing back, honestly, because again, like this is just kind of the same cycle of like, this is exactly what happened on the honeymoon.
Mhm.
And so you're right. Like, I think again, this is a very rude power ranking, but like of the go-to therapy power rankings right now,
Oh.
like it's
Never been higher.
it's just like, you guys, like, this is not. You need to be happy with yourself, and then we can
Thank
talk
you.
about
With
relationship building. Let's one thing at a time, right?
with all
We
due
got to get to
respect,
the.
Chelsea, yeah.
I think to wrap up this episode, though, this has been a really good one, guys. I'm excited. We got to hit up the post-credit kind of stinger.
No,
we get with this one.
no, stop right there. I'm not letting you leave this. You're not running away from this. We're going back to Johnny and Amy. No, I'm ruining this for you. We're trashing this plane.
Right. Okay. No. Okay. Now hold on. Okay. Well,
So,
set the
okay.
scene here, Ray. Set the scene,
Okay.
and then I'll explain why it's fine. Go ahead.
Johnny and Amy are having. First of all, Amy reveals one of, in my personal opinion, the biggest of red flags. I'm a
Crystal girl.
waving the flag of China all around. I'm out. That's enough.
I love her suitcase though.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, she is a,
She's a crystal
girly.
girl.
But you know what? Every fucking millennial and younger these days is either in a horoscope era or in a crystal era, and you know what? You
That's
just
so not
can't.
true.
Well, okay. Every single millennial and younger girl is either in her crystal era or her horoscope area, and it's just something we have to be okay with.
That is, no, you're just wrong. Okay. Absolutely wrong. I'm sorry to tell you.
Look, she has crystals. Johnny has FanDuel. Okay.
Does he have FanDuel, or are you just saying?
Why? I'm just, making
Okay.
assumptions. Okay.
Every male of Johnny's conscription age, it has FanDuel.
Conscription
FanDuel
age.
and
What the hell?
He has FanDuel and his Zen package.
God
okay?
damn it! Get out of here.
Okay, so they're having a conversation about birth control because I guess maybe they haven't had sex, or like Josh
They have very clearly said they have not been fully like sexually intimate at this point because of the birth control issue.
Yes. So everything Josh said about other things probably not true. Most likely not true.
I don't know if you know this, but a blowjob can't get you pregnant. So
I mean, they haven't. They have. Sure, they've probably gotten to third base. They haven't had the intimate like penis and vagina sex. We'll go with that. How about that?
Like
Is
I
that
said, they do all the other
They
stuff.
haven't fucked.
There you go.
They haven't been fucking yet.
Right.
They've been mouth fucking. All right, we're gonna move on.
Let's go.
Right.
They're talking about birth control, and Johnny is really. This is an interesting conversation because Johnny really wants Amy to get on birth control, and Amy doesn't want the hormonal effects that come with birth control. So they're like going back and forth on that. And I said, my note is like, this isn't even a fun conversation. This is just like a conversation that people have.
Right. This is just
And I feel
real.
this is like a super invasive conversation, but it's fine in a sense. But also, Johnny does not seem coming smelling like roses in this at all, in my humble opinion.
And this, mild spoiler, this is obviously going to come up again, and
Okay.
you'll get a chance to see if Johnny is intentional or not about how he goes. But like, I do in some respects see where Johnny's coming from. Of like, I have just taken for granted for a long time that every partner I've ever had has just been on birth control forever. And like now he's first on the time of like, oh, this is like a real possibility. And like, I don't think he realizes like, yes, condoms aren't fully effective, but neither is birth control. And like, so there is still that microscopic risk. And like, as somebody who once had that irrational fear of like, if we get pregnant now, basically our entire lives will be over, and we will live in the poorhouse because we're not. Well, like, we're gonna live in the poorhouse because we don't have enough money to do this. It's like,
Sure.
no, buddy. First off, if you have that opinion, you're probably actually ready to have kids. Like, if you're that concerned about like being able to financially support them, you're actually probably gonna be all right. So like, that's something to get over. But like, I will say there is some immaturity there of like it being a complete block to intimacy because you are so afraid of it. Obviously there is some family trauma there, and they kind of allude to that a bit, but like obviously there's something going on there that he is so afraid of intimacy outside of like being fully protected that he can't do it or isn't willing. But also like, it is okay to have a conversation. I do think, they're both being a little flippant about the vasectomy thing because, like, you can get a vasectomy, but if you want to have kids, it's, like, definitely not the thing you want to do because it's reversible, but it's not guaranteed to work.
Right.
So, yeah, this is a weird conversation. I just felt in this conversation, like, I agree with Mike. It's a fine, relatively normal conversation to have.
Mm-hmm.
The entire house arc of just like filming people inside their house, inside someone's actual bedroom where they sleep, that just skeeves me out and creeps me out. And it's kind of why I don't like reality TV, because it's like, Jesus, you're just in people's most vulnerable places, having the most like dense conversations. And yeah, as Josh was saying, like it can come off as flippant. You put a camera in someone's face for 24 hours a day, of course they're going to come off as flippant. And
Well,
as Mike
yeah.
put it, the edit has all the power. It doesn't give a damn what they actually said. They can, I can make you say whatever you want.
I think that's a fair point. I think nobody's on the show against their will. So if it
Yeah, of
was
course not.
truly not something they were comfortable with, we wouldn't see it. We do get I think in this show, maybe not other reality shows, but like this show is like
Yeah, there's
Nobody
another
walks into
Netflix
what this
reality show
program-
which is
right.
way more invasive in a very
Right.
creepy way. So like Ray, this is PG compared to some of
I
the
think
other
this
shit.
right. This is pretty tame compared to like the other fare in the genre.
But also, like,
I
the whole
do
point of this
think
show is like
the-
two people coming together, having never seen each other, falling in love, and like finding out if they can like build a life together. And part of that is having those tough conversations about things like intimacy, things like starting a family. Like the
Right.
whole point of this show is like to see two people coming together and like finding out if they can build that life together. And like if we just see like, hey, I like to go to Chinese takeout on Friday nights and, you know, sometimes listen to K-pop. Like that's not compelling television, but that's also like not really
right.
Sorry.
This is that okay, Josh, you're right though, because that's what I think this is actually. Yes, this is like this is a real conversation that indicates like this is a healthy relationship, because they're first of all he's not on fucking phone, which oh my god. Ugh.
He's got
Can't hurt you
a
anymore.
he's got a hottie in front of him and his phone is away. And you know
He
what?
doesn't care that she's hot. He doesn't care about physicality. Why has no one figured this out? He doesn't give a damn.
Ray, you're not paying attention. You are so caught up on the fact that they haven't had penis and vagina sex to like
Right,
not
it's
hear
like-
everybody literally saying like, guys, we can fucking feel your chemistry. Like they are
Yeah.
so into each
Everybody's-
other. Like
everybody's
everybody
I'm talking
can
about Kenneth
feel.
and Brittany.
Oh,
I'm-
okay.
I'm talking
All right.
strictly about Kenneth.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. Well, he's
I'm
a loser.
saying he's not physically attracted to her.
He's a loser.
Yeah,
Goodness.
but like
Because I don't
is
think he's
also...
only physically attracted to phone.
Duh.
Phone is pretty great though. I'm not gonna
Maybe
lie.
he
Nice.
fucks phone.
Bro,
You don't
phone
know.
phone got good curves.
Hmm. Does my wife have a data plan? I don't think so. But
My wife ain't got 5G
the-
connectivity. Look at these radios, baby.
wow. So
Phone
that's
tells
what,
me where I need to
so
go.
that's what all the
It's never
5G
let me
people are
down.
about. Okay, now I kind of get it.
Go give me that microchip.
Interesting. Give me all the chips you got, please. I want them all.
All right,
Um,
Jess.
okay. no,
Slay.
wait.
Jess.
Wait.
Slay.
Wait.
Sorry.
Okay, so, but this is also like one of the other things I have learned from watching this show with my wife is like sometimes for the couples that like who 3 or 4 episodes in you can tell like, oh yeah, they're gonna be good. They still have to have like sprinkle in like they still have to manufacture drama to like get a story.
Yeah.
To like get them to like the finale that isn't just like, yep, these people are perfect, they're great, we're good. They have to build, they have to like find a little the nuggets of like ooh
Mhm.
as where they can, and I think that's what this is a little bit too. It's like, oh, maybe they're unaligned on this, how are they going to figure it out? But like they're having it, the fact that they're having this discussion at all, and it is as like, you know, Johnny is like, hey, I'm learning about this stuff. This is a pretty respectful conversation.
Yeah,
Kind
everything
of tells
about
you the answer, but like we're seeing it because it's supposed to be setting up like, ooh, they haven't solved this yet. What will they
Yeah.
do?
everything about that
But
conversation.
we already
was
know
good.
the
Like
answer,
positive
you know?
for me.
Right.
I just in my head. You know what? Never mind.
Jess. Slay.
Oh my God, Jess. The Jess and Laura little post-credit scene we got here. Jess is back. We get a little bit of scoop here. I think I've got this down correctly here, where apparently the day after they all get back from like the trip, Jimmy sends her a friend request, and then he withdraws it, which is like, oh,
And puts his account on private when it previously wasn't.
It's so good. I love it.
Like,
I'm dying.
boy, howdy. And then we also get so Jess meets Laura, and Laura talks about Jeremy, who also gets an Instagram DM from Sarah
who?
Ann, who
America's
says
sweetheart.
America's
Sarah
sweetheart. A nice long block of text messages that, says really nice things, and then says, hey, if your mind is shifting at all,
Oh yeah, that was crazy.
call
Isn't
me.
Sarah Ann the like super conservative quote unquote patriot?
Yep.
Right, our patriot.
Oh, Jeremy, no! Jeremy, no!
Yeah. Oh yeah, but yeah, just like love to like, hey, congrats on getting engaged to your fiance. Hey, if you ever change your mind, I'm here. It's just like, what? Like you can't just like. We'll get into it, but like that was wild. And again, this is especially when I'm like, okay, yeah, this is not gonna end well. But also, hey, I forget how we wrap these things up, folks. That
Well,
was a
no,
pretty good
I wanted
episode.
I wanted to like throw shade at Laura. Like when he wasn't looking, I took a picture of his phone. Like y'all done, it's over for you guys.
Cooked.
If you're sneaking pics of each other's phones,
Yeah.
Well,
That's
okay.
it.
In this conversation, she's like, he did come to her and told her right away, like, hey, Sarah Ann sent me this. I want you to see it. Like, he's upfront about that.
sure.
So, I do understand her desire to be like, okay, like, this seems kind of weird. I'm glad that he told me, but like, I want to like.
I feel like he
talk-
is kind of doing that as cover. You know what I mean?
I'm sure it's completely
Right.
innocent.
Yeah.
Everything's above board, Mike. Above board.
Right. I feel like Jeremy's a little conniving. You know.
You know, it isn't.
Scheming behind his little C-PAP machine and his distilled water he has to use.
You really hating on that C-PAP?
I don't know. This joke is kind of mean-spirited, honestly. I retract it. I love you, my C-PAP warriors out there. Keep fighting your good fight.
So all my CPAP buddies, if you want to send your hate mail to Mike, you can send it to mailbag at unscriptedgaming.com. Just send it to the attention of Mike and let him know how much he's a fucking asshole.
Yeah, hate mail, love mail, mail.
Get at him.
Especially the hate mail. It's the year of the hater, folks. So we need the hate mail.
It makes him stronger.
It does.
He loves it. You know what else makes you stronger?
What?
Visiting unscriptedgaming.com.
Hey, look at that.
There you can find links to all of our podcasts, our video and our audio files for the Post-Scripted, our general Unscripted Gaming podcast, whenever we get back to Creed Got Robbed, and all the other things we do here. You can follow our socials at Unscript Game Podcast on Facebook, on x.com at unscript_gaming.
The everything app.
You can get our audio version at soundcloud.com/unscripted-gaming. We are on all the podcatchers. You can also catch video feeds of this recording on YouTube. Thank you for listening to Post-Scripted. Love is Unscripted, Season 6, Episodes 7 and 8. My name is Josh.
My name is Mike.
And I am Ray, holding a Felix.
Peace.